Jonathan Masters here, Kentucky News. There's three stories that I saw in the news recently, and I gotta say something about them. Okay, so starting right off, I just talked about several psychopath murderers in Kentucky. There's a lot of weird behavior coming out of Kentucky, and so I had highlighted Rod Farrell, Charles Manson, several of the employee-based shootings, including one here at the Standard Grover building in Louisville. Uh, but I'd also listed a number of police officers because police officers are psychopaths, and the two distinguishable characteristics about psychopaths are they have no anxiety and they have no empathy. They can't empathize with other people, so that's why they wear the glasses. That's why they don't look you in the eye. They talk to you like you're a dog. They talk to you like shit, and they hurt people and they don't care about hurting people. Many of them do. There's a few good apples out there, but you have this just recently reported November 21st, so yesterday. This is UPI.com, so I'm not sure where they actually got the story. I think it's like a website that takes other stories. But ex-police officers are charged in Kentucky with 1994 prostitute killings. Oak Grove, Kentucky, November 21st. Two former police officers and a third man been charged in Kentucky with being involved in the killings of two prostitutes in 1994. So who killed? They've arrested these two ex-officers. The victims was Candace Belt and Gloria Ross. So I think it's important to understand or to keep the victims' names alive, right? So Candace Belt and Gloria Bass were the ones that were murdered in Oak Grove, a small town dominated by adjacent Army post Fort Campbell, which spans the Kentucky-Tennessee line. So it's a militaristic fucking place. Several of these people also said that they thought that the police had something to do with it. In fact, the brothel that the prostitutes were murdered at were paying the police officers to work there. And the state trooper Stuart Reckles said Duncan is charged with 2 counts of complicity to murder. So Duncan is responsible. Some man named Duncan. And you have one of the former police officers, Leslie Duncan of Central City, Kentucky, was sentenced to 3 years after he pled guilty to tampering with evidence. So Leslie Duncan has something to do with the murder. The other police officer, Edward T. Carter. So these fuckers are psychopaths, okay? Edward T. Carter and Leslie Duncan are psychopaths. 43 years old in Somerset, Kentucky. And Frank Black Jr., 39, of Alabama, pending extradition proceedings. So they've been, for years, they were suspicious of it. The Tamley, Paplet, and Adams made accusation openly in 1997 City Council meeting. Bob Combs is suspicious of Duncan. He messed up the scene. The phone was off the hook when he arrived, and Duncan was in there. The phone was on the receiver. No one ever asked me at first officer to see anything about the case. No one ever asked anything until the state police took over years after it happened. So, one guy, Leslie Duncan, he pled guilty to tampered with evidence, so he covered up the crimes of these other officers, Edward T. Carter, out of Somerset, Kentucky, and Frank Black Jr., and they murdered 2 prostitutes in Kentucky. So it was Candace Belt and Gloria Ross, 18 and 22-year-old, young women. These old fucking creepy-ass men, 43-year-old man, and Leslie Duncan's 50, and then this guy's 39, so I guess he's a little younger, but all 3 of them are at least twice these young women's ages. And I guess that's now 94, so that would have been 20 years ago, so maybe they was the same age at the time. It's just unbelievable that it takes this long to find when a cop murders somebody. There's a big ass cover up. But, you know, if there's a alleged jaywalker, or if you go 5 miles over the speed limit, they on you like flies on shit. So it's not a surprise, though. It's not surprising, but it is important to document. Edward T. Carter and Frank Black Jr. murders, fucking murders. And Leslie Duncan was a person who helped cover their fucking crimes up, you know. Jennifer Lawrence, she says she loves Louisville. She's born and raised here. I think she's got potential to be politically bigger than Ashley Judd, but I haven't been hearing her speak any politics. So she's not really saying much any politics at all. Just, you know, being a cute or a beautiful, you know, Hollywood damsel. And so you have, she says she's going to slow down. She doesn't want to do anymore. She wants to act anymore. She wants to start directing. So they started asking her about Louisville, and she says it's places that she finds a semblance of her old life. She says she could wish she could turn off all the attention and just do her job and do what she loves to do, but she can't really do that. She's famous now. She would just walk outside without a hat, without sunglasses, without security, and walk by herself and look people in the eye. I used to just be able to sit and eat, drink coffee, not to duck my head down, people watch again. So she isn't like that, but she says in Louisville, Lawrence, Jennifer could shop at Target with her mother Karen, go to bars with her brothers Ben and Blaine. Louisville's very respectful, she said to her. I could normally go out to dinner with my family, and everybody's really nice, leaves me alone. It makes coming home a lot easier. People are really nice about letting me have a really nice experience. There are families still in Louisville. Lawrence left town to pursue acting when she was 14. After finishing 8th grade at Camara Middle School. She lived in New York and she lived in L.A. She's been gone for the last third of her life, but her family's here, including a couple nephews she tries to see as often as possible. The only thing I ever identify with as home is Louisville, Jennifer Lawrence said, and she's trying to help her home city. On Wednesday night, Jennifer Lawrence Foundation, started by family members, raised more than $40,000 for Mary Center, which supports area adults and teens with intellectual disabilities through a special early screening of her latest film. So she loves Louisville, which is cool. I like Jennifer Lawrence. She's a Kentucky woman, right? So all things Kentucky are good. There's the last thing I want to talk about is another psychopathic piece, and it's about these girls, 13-year-old girls who beat the shit out of another 13-year-old girl in a bus in Carroll County, Kentucky. And I want to mention this because this is Northern Kentucky. Carroll County was actually the county where I was raised, and that's where my home was. I went to school in Gallatin County, but right on the line. We lived in the people I lived with. We all lived in Carroll County, and this isn't the first time Carroll County's had bus trouble. And when I was just 5, 6, 7 years old, says 1988. So when I was 6 years old, I'm in the first grade, Mrs. Nash's class. Carrollton, Kentucky had a bus collision as the deadliest drunk driving incident ever, and the second deadliest bus disaster in U.S. history. And that happened right on 71. So Interstate 71. 10:55 p.m. May 14th, 1988. Larry Wayne Mahoney, a drunk driver in a pickup truck traveling in the wrong direction on an interstate highway in a rural, unincorporated area of Carroll County, collided head-on with the gasoline-powered former school bus, which was in use as a church bus. Initial crash was exacerbated when the gasoline from the ruptured fuel tank of the bus ignited immediately after impact, which also blocked the front loading door. Difficulties encountered by the victims attempted to evacuate the crowded bus quickly in the smoke, darkness through only other designated exit. The rear emergency door resulted in the death of 27 people and injured 34 of 67 passengers. 6 passengers escaped without significant injury. Mahoney also sustained injuries. In the aftermath of the disaster, several family members of victims became active leaders and mothers against drunk driving, and one, Carolyn Nunnally, became national president of the organization. So that's not related to the incident that just recently happened to Emily Penn Foster. So, she's actually speaking out, and good for her. She seems like a very bright young student who, makes straight A's. Her father was appalled by it, just felt helpless when she had called them. So, this has been actually going on for quite some time now. I mean, this the internet, and people are doing some new stuff. But there's like a game where you call a knockout, and people just go around, they hit innocent people. Now, I don't know, this is a premeditated attack. Everybody on the bus knew that this was going to happen, and nobody told her. Nobody told Emily Penn Foster. So being a smart girl, maybe she's a bit isolated and don't have enough friends. And the way I had first heard this was that there's three 13-year-old girls that confronted Emily Penn Foster and asked her if she liked the boy. And then she said yes, and then they just started wailing on her. So I don't know if she actually said yes, because that could just be bullshit. They could just be like, do you like him? And they just, do you like him? Do you like him? Might have been one of the girl's boyfriends or just some fucking crush. And when they, like you can't turn on and off who you like and who you don't like. So if she was being honest, good for her. But that's also still, just for liking somebody, she didn't talk to him, blow kisses at him, pass him notes. There was no, cheating of any kind. If she had pursued him, you know what I mean? Like, this is just some fucking bullshit. It's bullshit, okay? This is, again, psychopaths have no anxiety and they don't empathize with others. How can you beat the shit out of somebody if you empathize with them? If you can put yourself in another person's shoes, how can you hurt that person? You don't want to get punched yourself, so why would you be punching others? It's the golden rule. Golden rule is wonderfully scientific, and it's reason, and so it has mathematical certainty. The golden rule is wonderful. The golden rule transcends all religions, most religions. So you have a video above, you see 3 different girls attack her, and they smacked her in the face. She had like 2 scars, scratch marks on her face, and she had 2 knots in her back. She says that happened on the way home from school on Friday. One girl punches, another gets up and hits her repeatedly in the back. When she was getting punched in the back, she said she blacked out. She was knelt down in the seat, and then that's when they jumped over the seat and kept hitting her. Eventually a girl grabs the one still hitting Emily. The bus driver realizes what's happening, pulls over. Emily gets off the bus to call her dad. He couldn't understand her. She has, 2 knots on her back. Without permission knowing, someone posted the video of the attack on Facebook. And her mother couldn't even watch it because her daughter screams. And eventually David Foster could see it. There's just nothing I could do watching that video. There's just no hope for her. She obviously didn't want to fight. The girl who hits Emily repeatedly claimed the teenager threatened her. Emily says it wasn't true, so that's a different story than what I heard. They said that she threatened me. And it says, she could have, I don't know. What would Emily be saying to her? I'm going to go to your house and burn your house down. I'm going to jump you. I'm going to bring 3 of my friends, and I'm going to jump you and every one of your family members and your neighbors and your cousins and your friends and anybody associated with you. Going to happen. That's going to, they didn't do that. They threatened her. I just don't believe them, anything's true, and that's just what this is saying. So this is just somebody hearing something, we're writing it down. It's WHAS, so you assume about 90% of the things that they're saying is pretty on the mark. She says that nobody stood up. That confused her. I don't know why that would confuse her. That's the way Americans are. There's a bystander effect. Nobody gets involved. Usually it's black men who get involved with the situation when they see that there's wrongdoing. But most Americans of all races actually just walk by. So people don't want to get involved. They don't want to know what's happening. Fights are the most interesting part of a boring school day. So there's a part to the crowd that feeds into the frenzy. They want to see things happen. I remember they used to make, I remember one gentleman talking about from Gouth County how him and his brother was made to fight each other, and he said how he resented that, being made to do that. So there's a lot of people on the bus that had knew about it. Nobody said anything about it, probably because they wanted to see the fight. They wanted to see it happen. Or I don't know if she's a likable or not likable person. That would suck if it was nobody saying anything because they didn't like her. But I would say that the allure of having some sort of altercation happen was the main reason why she wasn't warned or told about it. So she's upset with the people on the bus. She was pulling her hair. there's 2 scratches, 2 knots. You know why they do that? And these kids are like known to be troublemakers and shit, but they're putting them in the bus together. So they're all going to alternative schools because it's kind of like Butyl here in Louisville. And I only know the reputation of Butyl, but it sounds as though it's like a prison for the kids. You can't expel them, but you send them to Butyl, and they're really draconian there, and they handle them military style. So, fuck bullies.